On this episode, going wide and deep. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show. Going wide and deep is the topic. You know, it's interesting going when you're working with a company or a prospect that you're trying to win, you're trying to make a client. The inkling often, maybe not for you, maybe I don't know, but the inkling is to go after you get hooked into a contact, right? You get hooked into somebody specifically, and I think you lose sight of. It's easy to lose sight of the mission, and the mission is the company itself. You need to get to the company itself. You're trying to win the company itself. You're trying to sell the company itself. And yes, that means relationships. Yes, that means you have to close certain people. Yes, you have to network and build those relationships very tightly. But the truth is that you have to continue until that happens through the company. And what happens sometimes is you're working with a contact, you're working with somebody specifically at the company, and the door shuts, the door closes in your face, and it's like, oh, not interested, or oh, this person doesn't need it. Maybe you hit the wrong title, you hit the wrong post, you hit the wrong person, and they're like, you know what, we don't have a need right now for that. You know, and I think all too often salespeople will then allow that door to shut in their face, and they're like, it's dead. There's not really a cycle there. It's dead. But if you're going after a specific company, let's just call it, Apple, or whoever you're selling, whoever the company is, Nike, whatever, whoever you're selling, in a business setting, or in any setting for that matter, your mission is to win that account. Your mission is to win that company. And that means that you have to go deep and wide. And by deep and wide, I mean that no matter how many contacts, if you start looking at the web going into the company, no matter how many contacts or people, you just because a door slams in your face doesn't mean that you stop. It means that you go, that's one little closed door, and then you go maybe to this person over here and this person over here. And next thing you know, by the time it's said and done, you may have gone in deep and wide to 10 or 15 people within a company in order to win that account or win that company. But you have to stay focused on the mission and not get so connected on the contact themselves, because otherwise you end up burning very, very good cycles and companies that factually need your product or service, that should have your product or service, all because one contact said no. And I think that people are like, well, they said no. It's like, yeah, but John Peterson at such and such company is not that company, right? John Peterson at Apple is not Apple and is not representative of everything at Apple. He's just one guy, right? And so if he says no, you still have a mission to win Apple, let's say, right? You still have a mission to win Apple, and you can't stop at John Peterson because he said no. He doesn't represent everything for Apple. And if you believe in your product or service at such a level where you know that the product or service is the right fit for Apple, let's say, then it would be totally foolish to just stop just because one person said no. One door was slammed in your face, which means you need to go deep and wide. So from there, you start doing your homework and you say, well, who else and where is it and what's happening and what data am I missing? Yes, you can continue working on John Peterson. Let's say the contact at Apple. You can continue working on that person if you want and keep going. Nothing wrong with that. And keep pursuing and nurturing and working on that. But don't forget to go deep and wide. And don't get stuck at John Peterson just like, come on, you got to do this. I'm not saying you're doing that, but that idea of just like, grinding. It's like go deep and wide, and really look at it and go, okay, well, there's this person there and there's this person in this area, and maybe you need to evangelize the company really heavily, and like, now I got to go to engineering, I got to go to this person in marketing, this person in sales, this person, boom, 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 and keep working until you get to that source and you get to the decision maker, as people say.
There's a couple clients, and one of them comes to mind that I won't mention the name or whatever, but it's a large account, a very cool account for Richter. And when Rob was in his Silicon Valley office, he'd walk out of the office doors and see this client's building right there, and like every day that's going to be a client. That is a client of Richter's. It didn't matter. It didn't matter who he had to contact. It didn't matter how long it was going to take. It didn't matter any details. That was a client of Richter. And very recently, a few months ago, they are a client of Richter. And it was a really, really big win. And the thing is that it doesn't. The thing is, I mean, and you touched on this a moment ago, but to the degree that you give up with a client that you feel you want is the degree that you don't believe in your own product and service enough.
It really is
to carry through. So you got to handle yourself first on what you're selling if you're going to do that, because you really shouldn't. Like there are a few one comes to mind right off the top of my head that I absolutely want them as a client, and I've wanted them for a long time. And I've had people reach to me from this company, at least 2 different areas now, and I have not successfully sold them yet. Mm-hmm. But by golly, I'm going to.
Yeah,
they're going to become a client. It doesn't matter who I have to reach out to or how long it takes. I'm going to communicate into that company. And then you also look at a number, and everybody's familiar with this kind of thing. But you look at some larger companies and stuff like IBM is a client of Richter's. Mm-hmm. And last year they made a lot of video content with us, but many different departments did.
Yeah.
Many different departments.
A lot of names that we know over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's at least probably a dozen people over there that make video content, and we reach into all sorts of different departments and things like that. And people, the European, the Canadian, the New York, all over the place.
Yeah.
Because they all need what Richter has.
Yeah. And if you're hooking on to just one contact, the mistake is people come and go and all the time and everything's like that, and they, your contact is now left and now they're at some other company, such and such company, which is great. You can follow them along. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't really go deep and wide, if they leave, and we experienced this recently with somebody, if they leave, you have no hook into that company. You have nobody to speak to. You have nobody to go to, and that's a problem, right? Because you have to start from scratch. Now, if you're working on the account and you go deep and wide, like the company that Ben's talking about, it took me 2 years to close it.
Gonna get those guys no matter what.
And look, we're doing great work for them. Yeah. They're really, really happy.
They're blown away.
But I probably talked to. I'm trying to not exaggerate because I want to.
Like 100 people,
like 2,000 people. I probably talked to 9 people. 9 people there in order to make it all happen. And so there's other contacts there. So the thing is, even if one contact left, I've got other people there, and you have to go deep and wide
and deep, because I tell you what, where he ended up was at the top of the organizing chart.
For sure.
He ended up at the top.
For sure.
So you go, oh, maybe they don't have, there's some big godlike thing or something. No. You go deep and wide.
Go as far as you have to go.
Yeah.
Go as far as you have to go, because I really believe in what we do. I really believe in our strategies and what we're bringing to the table, and I really believe we can help. And I think if you don't, then it creates a weaker approach, and you're like, oh, my contact left, or my contact said no, or there was a door slammed on my face, and you're like, oh, well, that's it, I'm going to give up. Right? And that's not the play. The play is to go deep and wide and really work. And I guess there's social protocol or something that people worry about, like, oh, it's kind of weird. It's not at all weird. You need relationships within the company, and you need to continue to make relationships until everybody there knows your name. People are talking about your name specifically. They're talking about your company specifically. They're talking about your product specifically, and multiple people are doing it. So there's an internal campaign, and there's that name being thrown around and everything's like that. And let's say there's 15, 20 people within that company talking about your company, or talking about how, oh, I was also talking to so-and-so, and oh yeah, we're talking about doing something. And then finally you get to the right person, and you finally wrap it up. And internally you've built a buzz, you've built relationships, you've built other people talking. Because if you're relying on one person, it's not enough. And if you're getting stonewalled by just one person who's sort of blocking you, not letting you get to the other things, that's also a problem. You need to figure out how to handle that, and sort of get around it. And that person very well might slam a door in your face, and that's okay, by the way. If you get a door slammed in your face, it's like, that's not the end of the world. Your cycle doesn't end there. You're not like, well, oh well, so much for that company. I guess my future with that company is up now because this one person slammed a door in my face.
You want to communicate so much, and this will be good to get on tape for everybody here at Richter as well, because this is a really cool win we had recently. A very, very large client of ours in aerospace and stuff like that. We got so well known over there because we communicate so much that when they talk about doing video, they actually just use the word Richter and then put in parentheses video. right? So yeah, we need to do some more Richter work. Is how they is like this fellow is telling me we need to do some more Richter work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Richter video. You're talking video. Yeah, we need to do some more Richter work. And then when I gave them the whole strategy and laid out really what our strategic communication is about, they were like, oh yeah, we need to take our sales deck and we need to Richterize it. Like they came up with that term themselves. We need to Richterize our sales efforts.
Yeah,
and it was like, that's exactly right. That's,
because you're so deep and wide in there that it's contagious, right?
Yeah.
It's contagious, and it starts culturally. Your terminology and your words that you use starts getting traction internally, and people start thinking of you. They think, oh, strategy, or oh for this, or oh for that, and that's this. That's now Richter, or for your company or whatever. You're connected in at that level. You're hooked in at that level, and that is typically not from one person. That's from many people that he's talking to over there that now know of Richter, know him, and
got to evangelize.
You've evangelized, right? You've built a campaign internally, and that's a powerful thing. And I think a lot of people forget to do that. We talk about to our sales team a little bit here and there, and our team typically is great at these different things. But every now and then you run into somebody and they're like, I'm doing so and so, and they close the door in my face essentially, and I got nothing, or the contact left, or they're no longer there. And it's like, okay. So what's the play?
And this cuts back actually to a different topic we covered before, which I know time is short here, but it cuts back to the topic of when you are handling your single contact for your first deal to close in the first place, you've got to, like, if there's snags or challenges or anything, go up the organizing chart. Introduce yourself everywhere. Make yourself very well known.
Yeah.
So that no matter what, you are a known entity.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, I hope that helps. I mean, it's incredibly important. If you're working on a contact and it's not going, or it's they're giving you a barrier and it's kind of stopped, or it's stuck.
Open all the doors.
Or they're closing the door. It's like, that's not the end of the cycle. Open up all the doors. Open up other doors. Start talking to other people. Really work to go deep and wide. If you really want that logo, you really want that company, you'll take to that level. And if that means you have to go to 15 people and you got to talk to other people and you have to have 15 discovery calls, or you have to meet in person or whatever, so be it.
It's worth it. It's
sometimes that's what it takes. It's part of the mission. Sometimes that's what it takes to win, especially a big account. If you're going after big accounts and things like that, that's very, very, very relevant information, And all too often people just sort of quit so early because they got one door slammed in their face, or one contact's no longer there, or they don't want to do it, or whatever. They get shut down by one person. And keep in mind that one person does not represent the entire company. That one person is not the entire company, right? You still have a mission to sort of execute, right?
If I'm not here, though, Richter's done.
So anyway, hope that helps, and we'll have more coming at you soon. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got subscribers going up. That's cool. And ask questions on the comment section. Okay, thanks.